From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA, live from Santa Monica with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. As those $3.5 trillion recon passed in a House Budget Committee. That means that all those incredible clusters of checks are now passed, and they're staying passed. In this recording, we'll learn about all these incredible checks which are heading to become law. Cluster number one, hazard pay, $4,000 for elder care, pass. Then cluster number two, home repairs and paid leave, pass. And then cluster number three, seniors and free internet included in there. All these items are staying in. We learn yet again today from those progressives. No program is getting removed and no program is getting reduced. So where are the changes? The changes are on the back end. The duration perhaps running from 10 years to 9 years. And the taxes changing the corporate tax rate across the board. We'll have all those incredible details and that IRS stimulus check inclusion that they say they're going to add in there. And this is what Dabby Applegate, a long time of this viewer, reports this morning. I called offices of Sandra, Warren, and Schumer, and they all told us there will be a fourth stimulus check. Meantime, the third stimulus, we'll go over that as well, as one viewer took my advice about that $13 billion cash infusion for rent and utilities, and look what she got. She got $6,000 for 8 months from the city of Austin in just the last few days because of this channel. That's that big money that I told you to pounce, and it's happening. We'll go over what's happening with Bernie today with that recon, what's going on with the face of advocacy, what's going on with that IRS inclusion of that stimulus check, and what's going on with us, because the toast is toasting, and the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. We got a big morning with some great news, and it starts right now on Mornings LA. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is good where you are. It is a little bit cool at the moment here along the coast in Santa Monica. I'm live with you. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. We got so much going on as that $3.5 trillion recon pass. It's done deal. It's not getting peeled. It's a deal that's not getting peeled. Cluster number one passed. Hazard pay $4,000 for elder care. And that is incredible. We'll go over those cluster checks in there. Then we got cluster number two's checks, including home repairs and paid leave. I'll explain those checks in the second cluster. Cluster number three's checks pass, seniors and free internet, and that is all incredible. Remember, the progressives today saying the same thing they said yesterday, that all items that are in there are staying in their past. There will be no program removed, and there will be no reduction of any program. We'll go over the latest comments from Bernie Sanders, which repeat that message today, and that's been the message of the last few days. We'll explain what Jalapal said to confirm my exclusive, that the changes will be on the back end, the duration of the programs, that maybe they'll run 9 years instead of 10 years, and that they'll change the taxes across the board. We'll go over that inclusion of that IRS stimulus check into the package. As Debbie, longtime viewer of this channel, got Schumer Sanders' office on the phone, advocated for that inclusion of that stimulus check, and was told, yes, it's going in there. And then we'll go over the third stimulus and how you can get that part of that big, wonderful money. And it all starts right now. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Noontime LA. Stay with this video. It'll automatically take you there. So subscribe. I want you part of this incredible loving family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to those incredible checks. A $3.5 trillion recon passed a House Budget Subcommittee 2 weeks ago. And guess what? Everything that passed is not coming out. Now, let's recap. In the month of June and July, This became law. What? Recon procedural. They passed recon procedural, which means that there would be a $3.5 trillion recon in the House and the Senate. Then they came back to start to do recon substantive, which is to the agreement upon how to spend the money. That recon substantive took its big first step as passed in the House Budget Committee, that $3.5 trillion recon. Let's go over all those incredible clusters of checks that are now passed one after another. We're going to go over the first cluster starting right now, which includes hazard pay and also $4,000 of elder care. Cluster number one's checks are incredible. We start, of course, with hazard pay. They're going to take the earned income tax credit and old tax code, broaden the eligibility so more people qualify for it, and then increase the amount of money. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for an elder person at home. Huge. Up to $4,000 also to care for a young child. Then they got home repairs in there as well. Wonderful. If you live in a low-income community, they'll give you free home repairs. College students got money. Grants to the universities, grants to the student, and also the Pell's grant made tax-free. They got $51,000 of MSE monthly stimulus checks in there as well. This is the CTC, the child tax credit, broadening the eligibility and broadening the horizon. How much? Every month, up to $300 a month. Every year, up to 18 years. If that household is low income, that's $51,000 a child. Wow. Then they got in there as well the incredible money for bikes, cars, trucks, all electric, and all U.S. auto manufacture. 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric vehicle, personal use, and a little bit more for business use, and a little bit more for truck. In a second, we're going to go the second cluster checks pass and the third, but let's take a detour over the third stimulus. And that big cash infusion. It was 2 weeks ago I told you that Treasury announced more money is going out for third stimulus for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. And the statement I read on air was that Treasury is very happy to provide state and local governments with these additional resources right now. It's also featured in the newsletter. I said pick up the phone and pounce. And guess what? I just love this story. This is a message that came in overnight from Prina. She writes, Lalate, I want to thank you so much with when you mentioned about the additional $13 billion that's going out to the cities and states. I immediately pounced and emailed the city of Austin once again. Now remember, this is Texas. This is a red state. As I said, every state has the money. I emailed them again and informed them of what you said was going on and to apply for more assistance. And they immediately last Thursday sent me the form. I filled it out yesterday and I got approved for rent from November to January. Now I get $6,000 for 8 months. I love your story, Prina. And you know what I also like her story? Is she also followed my advice later in this video. I'm going to show you how to get this big money as well. She got money into 2022. Wow. Let's cut to the second cluster of checks that are in that past recon. And these are incredible. These second cluster of checks are including home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave. That is family leave and medical leave. How does it work? Well, it's a lot of money. Under third stimulus, it was $1,700 a week if you made $70,000 or more per year. Let's split it in half. Let's say you make $35,000 annual salary, you get $800 a week. Split in half. $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. Family leave, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Remember, fourth stimulus is for everyone. All walks of life, SSI and SSDI, nothing COVID related. Then they got money in there for weatherizing your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House. And if possible, keep them out of the Senate. There we go. Then we got checks in there for childcare programs, household tax credits, then checks for seniors, which I'll be covering in the third cluster, dental, vision, and hearing, and Medicare eligibility, and then checks for pre-kindergarten across the country and free community college. Wow. That free community college definitely needed because there's always someone like Russell who's in the live chat says, I don't understand what you're saying. But Russell now took the class. It's called Lalate 101. What the world is Lalate saying? Learn how to speak Los Angeles. That's the advanced class 202. And then more checks in the second cluster. But boy, we're ready for third cluster in just a second. But what's Congress doing? What is Congress doing? What's important to understand is that the $3.5 trillion recon is a package, and they are not taking anything out of the package. They are adding stuff in there. It's a deal. And so you should not come on camera expecting me to say peeled at any time, because that would be not a good thing. You're expecting me to say deal, and still a deal, not peeled. And that's what Bernie Sanders said today. That's what Bernie Sanders said yesterday. What did Bernie Sanders really take issue at? He basically did exactly what I said would happen, which was he heard Joe Manchin going after one of the programs in these clusters, saying, I don't think that program is really needed. Bernie, like mother hen, like protector of the program, said, you are not going after any program. We are not peeling any program out. This is a deal. This is a done deal. We ain't taking it out. You need to pass it. There we go. I love it. Time for the third cluster checks. You ready? I am as well. The third cluster checks include checks for seniors and then checks for free internet. Let's look at these third cluster checks, and they're incredible. Third cluster checks are free school meals for all, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for seniors, checks for independent contractors, and then checks for seniors like like lowering eligibility age for Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing care. I particularly like this third cluster, like the president does, because it's instant savings to your wallet overnight, like cheaper prescription. For example, let's say you go to a pharmacist today, say, hello, Mr. Pharmacist, I have a really bad headache. Do you have something for that? Yeah. What's the problem, LA? You've been listening to too many moderate Democrats? I said, yeah. Do you have a solution for that? I do. Seats for stimulus. No, I mean a prescription. Oh, yeah. Here you go. It's $40. So you take two $20 bills out of your wallet. After this becomes law, they would slice the prescription medication prices in half instantly, so that when you go to refill the prescription, it may only be $20. Then they're going to give free internet across the board for you, every red, blue, and purple state. This is great. So all you have to do is say, what's the username and password? The username is Sanima No More, and the password is Mansion Munchies. There you go, and that's it. In a second, we'll go over more about the dramatics of what Bernie said, but now let's turn to that IRS monthly stimulus check and this incredible comment that came in overnight. This incredible comment involved a longtime viewer who knows what to advocate for and how to advocate. And she picked up the phone and advocated to not one, but three offices, and this is what she wrote. Debbie wrote, I called the offices of Schumer, Sanders, and Warren and was told by all of them that there would be a fourth stimulus check. This is overnight. This is today. This is this week. And this is consistent with what happened earlier this week and last week. Last week, longtime viewer Donnie's wife got Chuck Schumer's office on the phone. Advocate for a stimulus check. Advocate, I need it. My family needs it. And Schumer's office saying yes. He's added it in there. Now, remember, the language is very important here. You're here to advocate, and there's two ways they can add stuff in there. On the House side, on the Senate side. First, let's remember that the recon that passed in that House subcommittee is not a bill. It's not a bill. It's a package that can be added to. And that's why no less than 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told by the House and Senate Democrat progressives they're adding it to there. Two ways to add it to there. First, on the House side, they can add it to the recon when they're writing it up, like Sheila Jackson, the vice chair on the House side. She can add it in there. Or when it lands on the Senate side. Remember, the senators vote last during the two-day vote-a-rama. When we're done with this, at the very, very last 11th hour, they get the legislation from the House. If they look and say, you didn't do this right, I'm going to add it in there, they can add it in there. And that's incredible, great news. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. We have more details about that IRS monthly stimulus checks, more details about these clusters and the fourth stimulus, more details about third stimulus and the successes across the board, and details new at mornings about Bernie and what went on with advocacy. I have all those incredible details. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica on Mornings Lalate. Boy, it is dark, it is cold, it feels like it's going to rain. Welcome to London. In the second half of this recording, we have more incredible, exciting details about that recon, the $3.5 trillion recon, what Bernie said about it, and what's going on this week. What's going on with that IRS monthly stimulus checks? What's going on with third stimulus? We got a lot of things happening across the board, and we're going to go over all of it. We'll begin to go over why it's important to understand how it's been dealed, not peeled, and what's next on the horizon for getting this over the finish line. We'll go over more about the legislative process so you understand how things get added and how things get enhanced. And we'll go over the voting process as well. We got a lot coming up, and this is Mornings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this loving family. I want you part of this loving family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is noontime. This video automatically take you there. Then the 1 o'clock afternoon show, a brand new afternoons at 3 and a brand new evenings. So subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. Let's turn to the big surprise that came in over the weekend. The big surprise is that Bernie Sanders' chief aide tells a longtime viewer of this channel, one of the original viewers of this channel, that this channel is now part of the equation to help get this recon over the finish line and your advocacy as well. What's going on? Sanders' office has now become so impressed by your advocacy of saying why you need a stimulus, what you need it for, what's your situation, and why is it unique, that Sanders' top aide now tells a viewer of this channel that Sanders is now keeping track of your messages, logging them, whether they're voice, email, or conversations with staffer. Why? They're going to be using these messages to show it to potential people on the other side of the negotiating table, saying, listen, I'm getting phone calls from all the states, and they're all advocating brilliantly, professionally, and very in-depth with a lot of emotion for this money. They're calling from red states as allied viewers. They're calling from blue states. They're calling from Texas. They're calling from California. They're calling as Republican viewers, and they're calling as Democratic viewers. They represent all swaths of the public, and they want this money. And guess what? That's sort of consistent with what happened with Bernie Sanders yesterday. And today, Bernie Sanders took the largest platform he could, which was appearing on the press stage of the Senate chambers before press and saying, listen, I've been hearing from Americans that they want this money. Americans have been contacting my office saying they want this money. You wonder who he's referring to? You wonder who he's referring to. Yeah, you. And he said, how can Joe Manchin say that this program is not needed when I have people calling? That's what I said what's going to happen. I have viewers in Arizona who have contacted me saying, we support you, LA. We support these programs. We need to be heard and advocate for the inclusion of these programs. And that's why I said, when you pick up the phone, advocate, say that you're from Arizona. Pick up the phone and advocate. Now, the advocating took its a very fascinating twist about, I think it was Friday, as Ben Tolchin, a longtime pollster to Bernie Sanders, had a very fascinating quote that said President Obama would have done it differently than Joe Biden. President Obama would have gone to the state of Arizona and said, well, Arizona residents, do you want this recon? Oh, you do? Well, tell Kristen Sinema to vote in favor of it. That's sort of what I've been doing all along, and that's what Bernie did yesterday. What I've been doing all along is saying, if you support this money, pick up the phone and advocate and say what state you're from so that they have logs and say, No, I got people from Arizona calling their LA viewers. They want the money. I have people that are in West Virginia, they're LA viewers. They want the money. I have viewers who are Republicans who are calling up. They want the money. That's why we got to do the money. And that's what Bernie Sanders did as well as yesterday. Now, let's go over what's important, which is advocacy. And it started on this channel less than 8 weeks ago when a long-time viewer, WR, picked up the phone and called Bernie Sanders' office. Advocacy started with WR. Told Bernie Sanders' office, I need it for my family, my community. And not Bernie Sanders, Chris Coons, Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware. And Coons' office said yes to WR. We're inserting that monthly IRS stimulus check. Then, 3 weeks ago, you saw this channel sort of ramp up with a lot of news. And a lot of things were happening by the minute and hour. The news cycle was changing quickly, and I was delivering a lot of exclusives. Number one, I told you that the House would write the legislation. They did. Sheila Jackson, the vice chair to the Progressives, wrote the legislation, and they introduced it to the House floor. That's at $3.5 trillion. Number two, I told you the House subcommittee would vote first. They did. That's what passed. I told you the House would vote third, and then it would go over to Senate. That's what's happening as well. And I told you Bernie Sanders is important integration. Well, he spoke that week. He said that unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. If you listen to those key words, he's saying, I want to hear from you. I want you to advocate. And that's what Brother Joshua did. That's what Lynn Glenn did. And that's what Margaret did at the time. They picked up the phone and advocated. Now let's go over what is advocacy. And I'm going to do this a little bit more in depth today than usual. Advocacy involves telling your unique story. Everyone has a unique story of why they need something. It may be your financial situation, your business, your medical situation, and it may be something totally unique to your town that a legislator doesn't know about. I need it because of this. I need it because of my family. I need it because of my church, my town, my legs, my medical bill. I need it because of my community. I need to tell you why I need it. And everyone has a unique story. That advocacy starts with a sentence and ends with a period. There's no question mark at the end of the sentence. The advocacy is to tell the listener on the other side the importance of the item. Now, one of the things I want to make very clear, which maybe I haven't made clear before, is that when you're picking the phone and advocating, you're basically sending a message why you need something. And the conversation, in a way, can end with you ending your narrative. I want to thank you for allowing me to tell you why I want to advocate. Thank you. And going on your way. And then picking up the phone and calling up another office and advocating again. Do you notice what Bernie did yesterday and today? He was told by Joe Manchin, I don't like one of the programs in the recon. I think it needs to go out. Peel it out. No deal? Well, peel it out. Bernie didn't just stop there and say, okay, someone wants it out. Yeah, okay, I guess we're taking it out. No, Bernie advocated. So he appeared on that Senate stage and advocated why Americans need it. And guess what? He's not going to say it one time. He's going to appear on another broadcast channel and repeat the advocating again. Now, let me show you what's not advocating. This morning, one viewer was in the morning show, and she explained what she had done. She picked up the phone and called Bernie Sanders' office, and as she wrote, she called up asking if there's a stimulus check in the bill. Okay, there's about 5 things wrong with that sentence. Number one, remember, we don't have a bill. We have a package, and the package that was passed was $3.5 trillion, to which things will be added, and then when they're added and they're ready to be done, they write it up as a bill. So number one, we don't have a bill yet. Number two, the package is not a complete package. As 1,000 viewers of the channel have been told by the Democratic leadership, they're adding it in there, meaning the stimulus check is not in the recon package yet. They say they're adding it in there. They can add it on the House side, or they can add it on the Senate side. Third, the viewer was calling up to just really track the money. Is the money already in there? And the response the viewer got was, no, there's no stimulus check in any bill at the moment. Of course, there's no bill. Number one, there's no bill yet. And number two, it's not in there. We already know it's not in the package. We're advocating for its inclusion. And that's what they say, they're adding it in there. If they had already added it in there, you have heard that recording 5,000 weeks ago that was already added in there. So that is what the face of advocacy doesn't look like. calling up and tracking money across the board. So Brother Joshua picked up the phone and advocated. He picked up the phone and advocated for that inclusion of that stimulus check for you, for his family, for his church. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page and helped thousands of viewers get money. And he picked up the phone and advocated, and they said yes. Bernie Sanders' office told Brother Joshua it's $1,000 or $1,300, 3 to 6 months. But Sanders needs to hear you advocate. That was the message 3 weeks ago. And with that, I told viewers, pick up the phone and start advocating, and boy, did you do it well. It started with Donnie, who picked up the phone and advocated. And Donnie, you met his wife earlier in this video. Well, Donnie picked up the phone about 3 weeks ago and called Bernie Sanders. And this is what Donnie wrote. I called Bernie and I spoke to the secretary. I told her what I need. I need it for my need to progress. I need to progress. I need it for my water and everything. And they said they're doing it. Hurricane Tina picked up the phone and advocated and was told it's going in there. The conversations kept on coming in as Yaya picked up the phone and advocated to Ron Wyden, and they promised SS200, she writes. Carolyn picked up the phone and wrote and called Sanders' office and said, yeah, and said people are losing their homes and everything they got. And Sanders says, yes, it's going in there. They're going to be putting it in there. Then we learned the importance of not making one call, but making 3 calls. It came from Will, who picked up the phone and called not 1, but 3 offices advocating. And those 3 offices are the same ones that Debbie called yesterday. And the same message Will got 2 weeks ago is the same message Debbie got yesterday, which is the following. I called Bernie's office and Chuck and Schumer, and all 3 of them confirmed it's going in there. And I said why my situation is unique. And I was asked by Liz Warren's office what money I want. And I said, the American Petition, and they said, yes, Senator Warren wants to do $1,400 to $2,000. Lorica picked up the phone calling Bob Casey's office and advocating for that inclusion of that stimulus check, and Casey's office saying, yes, they're currently in negotiations. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden were among the senators who told no less than 1,000 viewers this channel, it will be going in there. Future tense will be going in there. Then AOC, Omar, Jalapal, Pelosi, and also other Senate House members telling the same thing to viewers of this channel, like Mark. Here's what Mark wrote. Mark wrote that he picked up the phone and called Nancy Pelosi's staff. And the staff said that it would be in there, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and that they're currently negotiating on the amounts. The messages continue to come in like Debbie overnight, where she wrote yesterday, I called offices for Schumer, Sanders, and Warren and was told that a forced stimulus check is going in there. So let's go over then where we are with that. Important, remember, it is a recon package that is passed, that has clusters 1, 2, and 3. It is not a bill. It is a package to which they said they will add programs in there. And those 1,000+ viewers have been told by the senators and the House members that they'll add it in there to the package as a program. 2 ways you can add it in there. On the House side, the House members can add it in there when they get it ready for a bill vote on the House floor. Or they can add it in there on the Senate side. When the senators get it during the vote-a-rama at the very end, if they look at it and say, this is not done right, I'm going to amend it. And remember, this is why it's so critical, because Chuck Schumer is the #1 guy in the Senate that determines when and how things do a vote-a-rama. So if he's telling Donnie's wife that he's doing it, if he's telling Debbie yesterday that he's doing it, that is a huge win for us because they go last. Now, what's important to understand is that across the landscape of the situation, it's important to stay positive and focused. And always there's something that happens here and there. And sometimes I don't always bring it up on camera. But first, I want to briefly tell you the following. 1, I want to tell you that this is a safe place and a pleasant place and a loving place to be. But in the last year, there has been one particular person who is an older person out of the state of New Jersey and married, who has taken it upon himself to create no less than 100+ fake YouTube accounts, fake Twitter accounts, and fake Instagram accounts to bother the female viewers of this channel. We all know who he is. And what he's doing is the following. And what you should be attentive to is the following. He sets up Twitter accounts with no followers and then goes into tweets and then goes after particular persons. Moreover, what he tries to do is, as a married man out of New Jersey, tries to befriend female viewers of this channel and then eventually bother them. We all know who he is. We're all being very protective of him. So be very protective of yourself and be very cautious of yourself when you see a new face come in the horizon. He often tries to set up Purple Power accounts and come in here and act like he is one of yours, and then quickly you see it's not normally the same. What is that person's message? That person's message is not to do anything. That person's message is negativity. That person's message is only about himself. And so with that, now let's turn to some big success, as I'm so happy for this viewer out of Austin, which shows us that pouncing is always about a purple hawk. Prina learned the importance of picking up the phone and pouncing. And as soon as I told you there's additional $13 billion going out to cities, counties, and states, she picked up the phone, because remember, I said, this money's not there forever. A few days, maybe a few weeks, and that's it. And the other reason I love Prina's message is she got the money from November into January, which is what I've been saying. So get that pen and paper ready, and we're going to go over this big sums of money right now. We're going to go over rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance, and it starts with the 6 places. I'm going to show you 6 places you reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And finally, get ready for the nonprofits. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Now, as I've been saying in the last, I think, week and a half, is that if you're a member of this channel, which I hope you are, open the newsletter and go to the line that talks about the money from Treasury. That's what Prina did. She read about it before she made the phone call, so she knew what to ask. She followed all the instructions beautifully. She called up the city of Austin, asked about this money in a red state where they had run out of money before, and they said, yeah, we got it. She got the application in quickly, literally within less than 7 days, and got funded within less than 7 days. That's how you have to move fast, because the money is not there very long. Kevin Lee, one of my longest viewers of this channel, has done this twice, and he's also in Texas, but in Dallas. He got his money within hours, and it was gone within hours. So don't, for everyone else, so don't wait. Next, utilities. I want you to reach out to all utility companies. So if you have 5, reach out to 5. Then the nonprofits. Boy, are they a big success story. I'm going to show you 5 nonprofits. First, remember that the nonprofits pay for the same items that are in the third stimulus, but with different eligibility. So if you have an eligibility problem, reach out to the nonprofits. Here are they: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Those 5 nonprofits are wonderful. Now, the other thing that's wonderful about them is that they pay for items that are not in the third stimulus. I had one viewer contact me from his car. He needed shelter. I said the nonprofits help with that. Those nonprofits also help with clothing, food, and sometimes small appliances. 2 viewers have gotten refrigerators and a furnace and also a window fix. And here again are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Then the big surprise and the big success has been Snap. I mean, I can't imagine that because of my videos, people are getting $26,000 a year lifetime because I made a video. It's just overwhelming. And that's where the big success has been on this channel. If you've never gotten Snap, get it today. Contact Department of Agriculture, reach out to them and get it. It's for money for food. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. And guess what? Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25% starting in October. Yes, this is huge. So Mark's brother-in-law going to $26,000 nationwide automatically. Then let's cut to those monies back from unemployment benefits. First, from your state, due to overpayment of computer error, yeah, it's landing. Any benefits anywhere from about $2,000 to $5,000. And then the refund check from the federal government. This is for people who paid taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. Average payment is about $1,200 to $2,000. If you got any sums of money, post in the live chat right now, because when you do, you inspire other people. That's a spirit of this channel, helping other people get these sums of money. Finally, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. Members in the live chat right now have a purple hawk next to their name. By becoming a member, you get the newsletter sent to you 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, from me, written and sent and delivered by the YouTube alert system for members and the LA alert system. It features all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus that you can get. That big money available for you in there to get starts with this rent, utilities, and food. Make 3 promises to yourself. I want you to get this big money as far into 2022 as possible. So if you're like Frina, where you just got money for rent from now to January, remember, you can go out to a nonprofit and get the money from January to March from another source of money. Yeah, you can get the money from another source as well and carry it even further. Number 2, I want you to get as much money far into 2022 and lean on the nonprofits. The nonprofits are not getting a lot of calls at the moment. Viewers are reporting incredible quick turnaround times from Syndicated for rent and United Way for rent. Finally, it's important to remember that we are in early October and things are not getting a lot of calls at the moment. That's why the quick turnaround times are happening. The other thing in early October, Salvation Army for holiday gifts. Do not wait to December for holiday gifts. Do Salvation Army now. Salvation Army starts delivering the holiday gifts now in October. Don't wait till the last second. And with that, now let's cut back to the big exciting details of how they're modifying that recon. With just a few minutes to go, let's go over all the dramatics of what gets changed and what doesn't get changed. All the items are staying in the recon. Whatever passed is staying in there. Deal, not peeled. There is no reduction of any item in there. Then, what are they changing at all? They would change the duration of the program or the taxes to be raised upon to which to fund the program. Let me explain how those recon changes start right now. First, the recon, 3.5 trillion, passed in a budget subcommittee 2 weeks ago, has a series of programs in it. Not a bill yet, it's a package. They can add those IRS stimulus checks in there as they so represent. But they're not removing any program. The program, $4,000 to care for the elderly, not getting removed. The program, 15% for the electric bike, not getting removed. That's number 1. Second, they're not reducing the amount of the programs either. So they're not going from 15% for a bike to 2% for a bike. They're not going from $4,000 to care for the elderly to $800 to care for the elderly. They're not reducing the items. So what are they changing? First, let's go over why are they not removing things and why are they not taking things out or reducing them. Bernie Sanders, Liz Warren, AOC, Sheila Jackson, and Jalapal, all yesterday, all since Sunday and last Friday, have consistently said the same message. We done this. We passed it. We're done. We're not going backwards. I love it. Remember, on a House and a Senate floor, they passed a recon procedural, $3.5 trillion, which means that there will be a recon of $3.5 trillion. Everyone voted for it, including Sinema and Manchin. They voted for it. So that was done. What was left then was to do recon substantive. How are we going to spend the money of the $3.5 trillion? Well, that is what they're doing now. That's what passed on the House floor. And once it passed on the House floor, they said, we're done. We've already done our work. We're not changing that front end. But we are open to changing the back end. Okay, now let me explain to you what the back end is. First, there's 2 ways to change the back end. The first one I predicted, and I got it right again. I don't know how this one came out. I had said they could shorten the time in which the programs run. Instead of 10 years, then 8 years. Well, Jalapal made that announcement yesterday. She said, yeah, we can change the duration of the programs. How did I think that could happen? Because that's what Bernie didn't actually force at the beginning. Bernie went into the negotiations asking for $7 trillion, agreed to $3.5 trillion by bringing some programs from 20 years to 10 years. Still, the programs still paid the same amount of money to you, and the programs are still in there. They just weren't 20-year programs, they're 10-year programs. So what can they do now? They can take a program and run it for 8 years instead of 10 years. So let's say $4,000 to care for the elderly each year. Instead of paying that out to you for 10 years, for each year that you do it, then they could pay it out to you for, let's say, 8 years. And then after 8 years, they have to go back and extend the program. They have to vote to extend the program. And that means that you would still get the same amount of money. Now, remember, when I talk about bringing in the duration of the programs, I'm talking about years, over a decade. I'm not talking about a few months. All right, now let's turn to the other second back end, which is the issue of how to pay for it. Corporate taxes going from this to 28%, and wealth tax going from this to that percentage. They can modify that, explained Sheila Jackson to press, modify the tax rate so it doesn't go as high, so it doesn't spend 3.5 on raising taxes, it spends 2.8 on raising taxes. And the same way as bringing the time horizon, do it for 8 years, 2.8, instead of doing it for 10 years, 3.5. I'm just using hypothetical numbers for you, but I'm showing you how you modify things on the back end, and yet the front end, the $4,000 to care for the elderly, still there. The whole program, still there. And the amount of the program, still $4,000, not $400. Very big difference. Finally, what's important to understand across the board is that the viewership of this channel is a loving family. When you see these messages, these screen grabs on this screen, this is not me doing octopus predictions for the World Cup. I'm not a predictor. This is what Hurricane Tina writes. This is what Donnie writes. This is what Lorica writes. This is what Will writes. This is what Debbie wrote. This is what viewers got as a message when they picked up the phone and advocated to these elected officials. Some people have, for some reason in their universe of negativity, have wanted to say, but Lalate says, no, I'm a news reporter. Let's get it straight. I'm a news reporter. If a viewer picks up the phone and calls and speaks to someone and then posts something to the live chat and says, I advocated and this was what was said, I report the news. I report the news. This is what Lynn Glenn wrote. So if you don't believe Lynn Glenn, then don't believe Lynn Glenn, because this is what Lynn Glenn wrote. This is what this viewer, Ida, wrote. This is what longtime viewers like Yaya and Hurricane Tina wrote. The message is coming from the viewer. And when someone goes after my viewers, I don't appreciate it. So if you don't believe Yaya, you don't believe Hurricane Tina, you don't believe Donnie, you don't believe Donnie's wife, you don't believe Debbie, you don't believe anyone, well, then who do you believe? Because here we got 450,000 viewers of this channel who have picked up the phone and advocated. And if you're not advocating, well, bless your soul. But if you are advocating, don't let someone say, I don't believe what you had during that conversation. Moreover, remember, advocacy starts here. Advocacy is about telling your story. And during the live chat of this video as well, I saw what happened when someone said they advocated. It was a brilliant conversation, but I also saw the reaction. Let me go over that just briefly. When you're picking up the phone and advocating and you're saying, I got to tell you my story. I got to tell you why I need something. You're calling up one office to say why you're advocating. In essence, the advocating ends with the end of your story. And that's why I need the stimulus. Thank you and have a good day. Done. The reaction I saw to some people in the person advocating was, what do they say? Do we get a check? The person who determines the check are the legislators. The person who determines the check are the congressional members, not the staffer. They don't determine whether you get a check. Their job there is to receive your message and to send it over to their boss, who then shares it with other bosses, other senators, other House members to discuss inclusions. Ultimately, your purpose is to advocate to as many offices as possible. As Bernie Sanders said yesterday and today, he said, we need to have this program in there. And Joe Manchin wants to take the program out of there. Joe Manchin, of course, said to press, no, take the program out of there. Do you think Bernie Sanders then sat back and said, okay, so the program's going out of there because Joe Manchin said it goes out of there? No. So when you advocate, and the next day you advocate again. That's what advocating is. And you pick up the phone and you call as many offices as you can so that they hear the message. And with that, we have a lot coming up at noontime, and then we got a show at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. The important thing, as you remember, as you're going into this afternoon show, is that the deal of that $3.5 trillion recon has a series of programs now passed. Cluster number 1, cluster number 2, and cluster number 3. The Democratic progressives have made very emphatically clear they are not peeling. They have already made the deal, and the deal is cluster number 1 is staying in there. Cluster number 2 is staying in there. Cluster number 3 is staying in there. The only thing that'll be changed is potentially the duration or the back end, the taxes. All items are staying. Nothing is being reduced. Meantime, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel being told that the stimulus check provision program is going in there as well. Anyone from Mark with Nancy Pelosi's office to Debbie overnight with advocating to one of the most important part of the equation, Chuck Schumer's office. Your advocating doesn't start with one office. It doesn't stop with one office. If someone is not particularly friendly to you on the phone, don't worry, you're not going out on a date with them. And you're not going surfing with them either because it's too cold. But with that, we got a lot of great stuff coming up later today, and I appreciate you for joining me. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers to YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Noontime LA is coming up next. This video will automatically take you there. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day across the board because the toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I was here, you were here, and I'll be back with you at noon.